Harrison's fast she believed Earth had no warriors left. She had seen her cities fall, her people scattered among the stars. She was an alien woman with silver eyes and skin that shimmered like pale moonlight. Her name was Lyra, and she had once been the commander of the Celestial Guard. But that was before the invasion, before the Great Silence, when her homeworld burned and she escaped into the endless dark. For years she drifted from one forgotten colony to another, searching for signs of courage, searching for any world where strength still lived. When she reached Earth, she found only ruins. Cities cracked open by war forests, turned to dust. Oceans, choked with ash. It looked like a grave world, empty of hope. She walked through the broken streets of what humans once called Chicago. The wind carried the scent of rust and rain and silence. She thought the last human warrior had died long ago. She wandered the empty roads, watching the sunset bleed across the sky. She whispered to herself that there was no one left, no one to fight, no one to protect, but then she heard something, a faint echo from the shadows, a voice low and rough saying her name, Lyra. She froze. The sound came again, closer this time. Lyra. Her heart stumbled. She had never told anyone her name on this world. She turned slowly. Her eyes searching the ruins, a man stepped from the dust wearing a torn coat and a chain around his neck. His face was tired, but his eyes were alive. He looked at her as if he had known her forever, said, "I have been waiting for you." She wanted to speak, but no words came. He said, "They told me you were gone. They said the stars had forgotten you, but I never believed it." She looked at him and saw something impossible. He carried a symbol on his arm, the mark of the Celestial Guard, the same one she had once worn when she commanded her fleet. She whispered, "You are human. How do you bear that mark?" He said, "Because you gave it to my ancestor before the fall. You promised we would meet again." When the stars cried, her pulse raced. She remembered the legend, a promise made in the last hours of the Great War. A human pilot who fought beside her when the skies burned. She had given him the mark and told him that if his blood survived, she would find him again when the world needed warriors once more. She had thought it was only a story, but here he was, living proof. He said, "My name is Luke. I am the last of the line. You saved us once now. It is my turn." They stood together under the dying light, and for the first time in many years she felt something like hope. She asked, "Why did you call my name?" He said, "Because the stars told me to." He lifted a small device glowing faintly blue. It was a beacon, ancient and cracked but still alive. He said, "It sang your name for years. I followed it across the wastes until it led me here." She took the beacon in her hands and felt the pulse inside it like a heartbeat. She whispered, "This is from the old fleet. It should not work." He smiled and said, "Neither should we, but we do." The ground trembled, a low sound like thunder rolled through the ruins. She turned to the horizon and saw fire streaking down from the sky, ships black and silent falling through the clouds. She said, "They have come." He said, "Then we fight together." She looked at him, his eyes steady, his hands calm. She saw in him the same light she had once seen in the warriors of her homeworld. She said, "You cannot fight them. They are too many." He said, "Maybe. But Earth still has one warrior left, and you are not alone." The ships landed in the ruins, shadows pouring out like smoke. Their machines moved with hunger, tearing through the bones of the city. She and Luke stood on the broken street, surrounded by ghosts and flame. She felt the old power rise inside her, the power she had buried when her world died. She reached out her hand and light formed around her fingers, the same blue fire that once shielded her people. He looked at her with wonder. She said, "You remember what I taught your bloodline?" He nodded and raised a weapon shaped from scrap and light. He said, "We never forgot together." They faced the darkness, their shadows long in the firelight. The machines closed in. But she moved like wind, her energy slicing through. Metal and flame, Luke fought beside her, each strike guided by something ancient, something human and unbroken. The sky split open. The battle raged until the first light of dawn, when the silence returned and the air smelled of iron and rain. She stood, breathing hard, the ruins glowing with soft embers. He knelt beside her, wounded but alive. She looked at him and said, Earth still remembers. He smiled and said, "You were wrong. We never stopped fighting." She looked to the horizon where the sun rose over. The shattered city. For the first time in centuries, she felt warmth real and alive, she whispered. "Then we begin again."